Seyibumbene isimbi yesithupha lomhla ekuseni asinivusele sinemukela maswahla amahle lomhla ehlelweni lakho lelitsanza kakhulu Kusile Breakfast Show. We are on the 30th day of October umnyaka ngo-2024 kuselancane nje sisifike emnyakeni lomusha wa-2025 sithanda kusiniphilile lomhla ekuseni. Thank you for tuning in. This is Kusile Breakfast Show. Uyakhona ke nokusibukela ku-YouTube sikhona Eswatini TV. My name is Lungelele Makakula. Simakhulu nje ukuthi umdalo siphephisile ngone sathe sabona langa lanamuhla. Good morning.
Absolutely. A very good morning indeed to you, Tombeni. Good morning to our watchers at home, our viewers at home. This is the Kusile Breakfast Show, the Wednesday edition, and today we want to explore Eswatini's construction industry and discuss the Ministry of Public Works and Transport's push for infrastructure growth. The Construction Industry Council, popularly known as the CIC, has plans to address industry challenges, as well as how the African Engineers Skills Acceleration Program is building local expertise. Stay tuned for insights on strengthening Eswatini's construction sector. And then in the second half of our 30-minute segment, we will be joined by government spokesperson Afios Ngumalo. We want to discuss the recent National Prayer Service, a deeply significant event that marks the beginning of the year in Eswatini. And we know that shortly we will be having our Ngwala ceremony, as well as, just to literally look at and reflect at all the significant ceremonies that we've had and events that we've had this year as we wrap up the year and we prepare for the year of 2025. An interesting discussion and an engaging one we're going to have with the government spokesperson, Afios Ngumalo.
Once again, for 6 lomhla sidabe sina Phumlani Zwane lusuka etiko leTasekhaya, Minister of Home Affairs. He is the Assistant Regional Registrar. Sidabe sikhuluma kabanti nge-increasing birth registration umgomo wabo bangihulumende noma kubalitiko leTasekhaya kunyusa lizinga lokubhaliswa kwabantwana nabasanza kubelekwa. Kanti ke litiko leTasekhaya lisebenzisana nelitiko letempilo kuzama kukwenda lokho. Sifuna ukuva nje ukuthi ngabe vele status sekubhaliswa kuma birth registrations sime kuphi silivele Eswatini. Lakhumlana ukuthi selokuchubeka umsebenzi we-mapping exercise ngenhloso yokukoleka yona le data lena ledinga ngilo litiko. Phumlani Zwane ubujoyine ngasamuhla at 6:30. Kumanje sibuke nathi letha mayimbili kumaphephandaba. Stokala sibuke Times of Eswatini, your leading headlines this Wednesday. As Fakata scam investigations intensify, Inyanga found with 30,000 emalangeni as 6 more arrested. Money is believed to be part of 234,000 emalangeni stolen from Matapa businessmen. A 48-year-old man was also arrested for harboring some of the suspects. Arrest rise to 32. In other news, HMCS refutes David Simelane release claims, and a businessman explains what led to baby mama's death. And in other news, the ACC whistleblower officer has been suspended.
Demidlalo, Times of Eswatini, former Chiefs skipper fired as Malawi coach. There's a big derby dilemma as anticipation is brewing as football fans eagerly await Eswatini's mother of all derbies. As Wesleyan saga drags on, judge insists there should be no delay for Wanderers case. PLE Pirates relentless in bid for stay of execution pending finalization of appeal. The last story speaks to Pirates equal club PSL record as they beat TS Galaxy 2-0.
All right, moving on to the Eswatini Observer, your leading headlines. 14 schools affected by storm. Oho region has the most, with 6 schools, 3 under Mayuwane in Kundla, lessons suspended in 1 school. Mpakati structures also destroyed, 1.272 people affected countrywide, and over 8,000 power outages recorded by EEC. In other news, there is a scam alert. Mozambique currency is being used as the 50 Malangeni note, and UNESCO employees get 95% of their October salaries.
Demidlalo, this is the Eswatini Observer Wednesday headlines. The big story there, amid teeth in the team, Ali suspends all bull activities, international problems threatening peace and stability, players not attending training. Coach is concerned ahead of tough games. On another story, the Swallows Nunu is on plaster cast, and former world champ Senzo wins 20,000 Malangeni. Markens Darts Club remain unbeaten. The PLE refutes Wanderers' contempt of court allegations is another story making the headlines this morning.
All right, moving on to the Eswatini Daily News. The Prime Minister, Russell Dlamini, has gone to Burundi to represent His Majesty and the nation at the 23rd COMESA Heads of State and Government Summit. In other news, Bishop Nash Shongwe applauds His Majesty's faith-fueled declarations, and the ERS has extended the deadline for VAT-registered businesses to submit income tax returns.
EDN Sports leading headlines this Wednesday. EFA has a case to answer. Manzini Wanderers court case. In court papers, PLE Chairman Polycarp Dlamini says football mother body Eswatini Football Association should be included in the dragging of Wanderers court case. On another story, Minister Nzima is confident of Chen qualification for Sihlang Semnigati. Vinicius believes fighting racism led to Ballon d'Or snub.
All right, nileto ulethamba imbili kumaphepha ndzaba this morning. Star bahleleta makethe sibene tindzaba tesiswati.
As Maswati, we were given this country by Mveli to live in, and he expects us to love and be tolerant of each other.
I'm part of this. Mawuthi angitsheka generationally nami dabuka kangwane. Manje on a serious note kukhona uhlelo kuthiwa isive siyathuthuka. And I believe ukuthi life is all about impacting other lives. So ngokuba khona kwami I believe ukuthi abantu abaningi bazothola ukuphila nokukhuthala. So masithuthuke isizwe.
Hi guys, please watch Sive Sia Tutuga on Eswatini TV every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.
Lipito lami nginokwazi ngoka Dlamini Sive Sia Tutuga.
Mizuzu siphohlongo kubumbene insimbi yesithupha maswati amahle nadidi indzaba tesiswati. Kumcwa ukuthi livela kangwane lichubeke nekuqinisa budlelwane balo nemave langephansi kwenhlangano yekuthengiselana yemave laseMpumalanga kanye neNingizimu Afrika iCOMESA. Lokhu kuvakele ngemhlonishwana Mvunankhulu Russell Dlamini esikhumulweni setindiza eKing Mswati the 3rd International Airport ngaphambi kwekube Albert 7 leBurundi kuyawumelela ingwenyama emhlanganweni wemashumi lamabili nakutsatfu wakaCOMESA.
Lo mhlangano utabe ugcile kakhulu etindzabeni tekuthuthukisa tekuvakasha kutekwe nendzaba tekuthuthukisa tekumba imining kanye nekubuka kutsi lungagciniswa njani uhlangothi lwetekulima kude emavela ngaphansi kwalenhlangano alime ngendlela etawumelana nekuguquka kwesimo selitulu. Kazi kumhlonishwa Mvunankhulu usukule lapha esikhumulweni setindiza eKing Mswati the 3rd International Airport.
Siyomelela khona inkosi yelive emhlanganeni weCOMESA umhlangano wekuthengiselana emave ase-Afrika sitawubamba khona kumhlangano emalanga lamathathu bese ke sesiyabuya ekhaya. Nawubuka livela kangwane imarket livela kangwane incane 1.2 million people. Lokusho ukuthi ke nasibe ne-industry noma umkhicito lomkhulu kufuna ukuthi sibe nemarket lenkulu. So kuba ke ingxenye yalenhlangano ukhulisa imarket la singathengisa khona. Lokusho ukuthi ke netinkampani letinye letingafisa kutokaneka la ringwane tingakaneka ngoba tiyadi ukuthi lokhu lesikhicita kwasikhicitele nje abantu laba 1.2 million. But isikhicitela abantu labanye kakhulu base-Afrika. I-Afrika population yakhona nyalo ibekiswa la kubo 1.4 billion webantu. So ke kumqoka kakhulu ukuthi silivele eMaswati sivele sibuqinisa ebudlelwane bethu nalamave akakhomesa stokhona ukuthi sithengiselane.
Kulomhlangano umengameli waseBurundi umhlonishwa Evariste Ndayishimiye kubheka ukuthi ke athathe tinzambo tekuba ngusihlalo wenhlangano yakakhomesa kumengameli welive leZambia umhlonishwa Hakainde Hichilema. Kazi ke lo mhlangano utawendulelwa ngomhlangano wetinduna tembuso letabe tinemhlangano nabosomabhizinisi labatimele labatabe babuka emasu ekwenta isiqiniseko sekuthi tingathuthukiswa njani tindzaba tekutsengiselana nje kuhlanyela timali kumavele ngaphansi kwekhomesa. Etisabente Eswatini TV ngingilingithin Gule ngisesikhumulweni setindiza iKing Mswati the 3rd International Airport eSkhuphe.
Losabambe kuba indvuna ilitiko letemafa umhlonishwa Apollo Maphalala uthi live kumele lime kahle kuleti ndizakete kuhambisa kuletindzaba tekuhambisa imali kungako kumcoka kushaywa kwesichibelo semthetho lobuke tindzaba tekushushumbiswa kwemali. Indvuna beyikhuluma eParliamente ngalesibili.
Impunga siphelele Mkhonda isekelo impunga Lindiwe Ngwenya ishukumisile endlini ukuthi timpunga tiphase umthetho lonetichibelo letisithupha lobuke kuhamba nekushushumbiswa kwemali lapha eveni.
Sitikhulumisile President indzaba letinengi kwakhulunyiswa nendzaba yokuthi na uphuma iborder gate imali bewusolo ukukhona ukuthi imali longete wayideclare uphume nayo egedeni bekungu 15,000 itolo ba shinto ke bathi bende ke bo risk based assessment babuka ke cha sebangayikhuphukhuphula bayikhephe lapha ku 25,000 emalangeni lo ngakhona ukuthi ungene nayo uphume nayo even ungakayideclare keja ke lengetulu kwaleyo sekufuna vele ukuthi uyideclare.
Timpunga tiwesekele lo mbiko.
Lo umthetho lomcoka. Noma ngabe yini event lephethelene nemali kuyokufuneka ukuthi kube kuhlobe ukuthi leyo mali ichamuka kanjani ihamba kanjani. Kuye lo mthetho asinawo nje bongakhanza athi sesibitwa njengemavela amanye lapho kuthiwa hawu kangwane ngoba khona la ngengafunza khona. Kuthiwa kangwane ngilapho kuwashwa imali khona.
Sicela ukuthi lo mthetho ungafrustrate sive seMaswati noma sikwenda konke lokhu let us be careful ukuthi singabe sesilimata ibusiness singalimata itrade singalimata futhi nekuthuthuka kwesive seMaswati.
Ngemva kokuthi lo sabambe kuba indvuna itiko letemafa umhlonishwa Apollo Maphalala ashukumise ukuthi indlu tiguculo ebelikomiti lendlu yonke kuphasa lo mthetho indvuna ibe seyabonga endlini.
Umthetho udelectose italive nekuthi le ema transactions lesiwendako in the financial landscape emekahle libe nesithundi lesifanele kule area yetimali mengameli kulokubonga kwethu ke mengameli singabe solo sibonga nakhona etimpungeni lokuthi umthetho seke kwavela kanengi lapha lokuthi leli gonso bese lilikhulu.
Lokunye lokuvelile endlini ukuthi live kumele libe liphaselo umthetho kungapheli inyanga lesetulu lingade live litikhanze emabhukwini lamnyama emave langakemi kahle ekuhambiseni imali njengoba live lithole amaphoyinti lang-14 kulawo lang-40 kuletindzaba tekushushumbiswa kwemali emhlabeni. Etindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Samkelisiwe Khoza nginasimuva Shongwe nabongani Masuku eParliamente.
Indvuna yetekwatisa nekuchumana impunga Sabana Mazia ithi kubambisana kwato tonke etinhlangothi yeveni kungalisita ke ekuthenini kuliwe nekuganga kusebenziswa abongcondo bamshina. Indvuna beyimelelwe ngumabhalane lomkhulu etiko phesheya Dube emhlanganweni wetinhlangothi letahlukene wekulwa nebucala babongcondo bamshina lowatiwa pheceleti nge-cybercrime. Lomhlangano ubanjelwe ehhotela leHilton ngalesibili.
Tinhlangothi letifaka ikhasi libandla lelingamele tekuchumana kuleli Escom lihhovisi lebashushisi emaphoyisa nelitiko letekuchumana batsengisa tindzaba letinengi kulwa nebucala bekugebengwa kusebenziswa abongcondo bomshina. Indvuna yetekwatisa nebuchwephesha impunga Savana Mazia lebeyimelelwe ngumabhalane lomkhulu etiko phesheya Dube ithi litiko litimisele ukuthi lisebenzisane nato tonke tinhlangothi ekulweni nebucala babongcondo bomshina.
The willingness to engage with these laws and build expertise in this field reflects your enduring commitment to justice and public safety.
Induna ithi seyiphela inyanga ekulwa nekuganga kwabangqondo mshina nje tinhlangothi tidlala indzima lebonakalako kulwa nebucala balolu hlobo ngoba khona losokuphatheka lokusesandleni. Umphathi waka-Eskom Mvila Wempi Dlamini yena uthe kufanele lungetwe lwati ngekulwa nebucala balolu hlobo ngoba netigilamkhuba setingembili futhi atitibeki nani phansi.
It is imperative that we equip ourselves with the necessary tools to combat this menace effectively.
Umcondzisi webashushisi lomvula hlophe uthi kunemithetho lesadzinga kubuketwa kabusha kusaliwa nalobucala.
I was informed that advocate has assisted even other jurisdictions in developing the training model. She has developed a number of programs on the issue of cybercrime.
Kanti umphathi wamaphoyisa eveni Manoma Masango yena bekamelelwe ngumamsi Dlamini kanika unika isiqiniseko ukuthi amaphoyisa angeke alale kulwa netigebengu.
We note and record that due to cybercrime's complexity and evolving nature, a partnership between the public and private sector is essential for a unified response.
Lokunye lokukhulunyisiwe kuthuthukisa buciko nebuchwephesha kutokwe inhlangothi tonke kulwa nalobucala. Etindzabeni ngingugiyani Msibi nginasimuva Shongwe sise Hilton eMbabane.
Mengameli wetimphunga imphunga Lindiwe Dlamini uthi kumcoka ukuthi tishamthetfo tihambisane nayo yonke imitsetfo lekhona eveni kude sive sitethembe ukuthi titawusebentela live ngebucotfo. Imphunga Lindiwe Dlamini bayikhuluma ngesikhathi timphunga tigcwalisa emaphepha ekudalula impahla letinayo ngaphambi kwelibandla lelibuke emalungelo ebantfu.
Ngekugunyatwa sicephu ze-241 241 semthethosisekelo welive lase-Eswatini, timphunga ngekusitwa libandla libuke emalungelo ebantfu kuleli i-Eswatini Commission on Human Rights and Public Administration ngemsombuluko tigcwalise emaphepha ekudalula impahla pheceleti Assets Declaration. Mengameli wetimphunga imphunga Lindiwe Dlamini uthi tishamthetfo tisasebentela lona live kumcoka ukuthi basebente ngebucotfo bagweme futhi nengohlakalo.
Bomcoka baloku ngulokuthi phela sisebentela lona live sithi sebendi dalo live kunjalo nje ke kufuneka konke lesinako sikhona ukuchaza kusuke la kwafika la kungabonakali unetinto esetiningi kakhulu tingeke khona kuchazeka. Asithi umuntu akathi akanalutho cha sithi nje lonako sicela kukwati asikutokuthula la Integrity Commission siyakusho ke konke njengoba nje kubhaliwe lapha timphunga solo tiyageleta tiyeta tiyasho ukuthi naku kuneluhlake loluhle lebasendele lona ukuthi lanza lokhu uyasho netimbuti takho netinkomo takho tindlu takho titande maplazi nabe khona konke lokho kuphandle nje abantwana nje longabethuli ngoba labo kuyadiwa ukuthi ngebakho vele. Ngingasho nje ukuthi ngiyakhuthata kuto timphunga tengwenyama ekukhuluma nje ke sethi kuqhelile timphunga lokho vele siyade ukuthi sihamba ngalonyawo lolu usatisa sive ukuthi sathi sibe nesiciniseko ukuthi cha siyaconza ukuthi kulamahhovisi ufuna sitiphathe ngendlela lenebucotho sihloniphe konke nalesinako sathi nje ukuthi lesinako ngilesikusebentele ungathi khansona lokuningi lo wati kahle ukuthi awukakusebentele.
Sicephu se-242 242 semthethosisekelo welive kubeka sobala ukuthi lukhona luswati kuleto tishamthetfo letingeke tidalule impahla kanti kubheke ukuthi tishamthetfo tidalule impahla njalo emva kweminyaka lemibili nanoma sebaphuma futhi ehhovisi. Etindzabeni ye-Eswatini TV kubeka Samkelisiwe Khoza nginabongani Masuku eParliament.
Indvodza lengu-Nkosi nathi Emmanuel Thomo leneminyaka lengu-48 budzala lesolwa-ke ngekuhlalisa ekhaya loyo labo bomsolwa emacaleni ekwebela emaswati imali yawo asebentisa indlela yokuthi bathi abafacade etingcingweni tabo ikakhulu ka-mobile money iboshiwe.
Licala bekwelona Nkosi nathi Emmanuel Thomo ngilelo kwephula tehluko letihlukene nemtsetfweni lwa nebucala obuhleliwe. Kuthiwa lobucala wabenta ngenyanga yenhlaba asendzaweni yasemhlumene esifundeni saselibonjeni kulomnyaka losetulo. Emaphepha senkantolo yathi Thomo ayingcenye yesigungu benta licala lokweba imali engu-12,000 emalangeni. Lena bekuyimali yafikile esifundza. Lesibili labekwelona umsolwa ngilelo lokweba ngekukhohlisa nalo kuthiwa walenda kuyinyanga yenhlaba kulomnyaka losetulo. Usolwa ngekuthi wathi kusifundza umsithi akususa ivirus elicingweni lakhe kanye naku-mobile money. Kuthiwa watshela Sifunza ukuthi akamniki imininingwane yakhe yaka-mobile money. Ngaleyo ndlela wase wenta lobucala bekweba le mali engu-12,000 emalangeni. Lekugcina labekwe lona umsolo angilelo lokwephula tehluko emthethweni lolwa nekushumbiswa kwemali kanye nekusekela tiphekelwa sikhuni. Kuthiwa kusuka nathi 6 enyangeni yenhlaba kuya nathi 25 kule nyanga lesetulu etindzaweni letingadiwa lihhovisi lebashushisi umsolo wasebentisa imali lati kahle ukuthi titfolakale ngetindlela letingekho emthethweni. Nakavele enkantolo kamantshi kaManzini umsolo wathomo watisa enkantolo ukuthi utawucasha ummeli. Manje lomkhulu wenkantolo kamantshi kaManzini Florence Msibi ubese lelicala lichubela kumhla ti-6 kule nyanga letako lapho khona lelicala lisamele kumikiswa enkantolo lenkulu. Kuvela kwathoma enkantolo kusho ukuthi sebangu-12 lababoshelwe lamacala ukuthi eMaswati akafacade imininingwane yawo etingcingweni bese bomsola bafinyelela etimalini teMaswati letika-mobile money kanye nazemabhukweni asebhange. Kulabo msola lesibavele enkantolo labasikhombisa babo bendzawo yaseThulwane, labane bendzawo yakabhudla bese munye uba sesithobelweni. Lomncane kulabo msola lesibavele enkantolo uneminyaka lengu-19 bese lomdzala kuba nguye Thomo loneminyaka lengu-48. Labanye balabo msola babekwe emacala langu-28. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla ngisenkantolo kamantshi kaManzini.
Tinkhundla kubhekeke ukuthi tikhona ukusebenzisa kahle imali yokutithuthukisa etidzingweni temihla nemalanga ngesikhwama-ke setinkhundla i-Empowerment Fund. Lokhu kushiwo kumabhalane lomncane walelitiko letinkhundla Ngcayizivele Dlamini.
Amalunga ePhalamende, tindvuna tetinkhundla kanye nabomabhalane besifundza saselibonjeni babonga litiko letinkhundla ngekubafundzisa kabanti ngesikhwama lesihlose kutfutfukisa tinkhundla i-Empowerment Fund. Bahlonishwa bathi sekutawusebenteka etinkhundleni njengoba sebatawuba nayo imphahla lefanele kute inkhundla ikhone kumikisa lusito eziveni.
Naku lokuhlala kugcizelela ukuthi uhulumende salaphuma aye kubandla. So kuyabonakala ukuthi sekuyendeka. Nangabe nje sekuyakhona mina ngithi incane yona lokuthi siyimali sekhona lesiyosebenzisela yona enkundleni but kukhona sekuyalotita lokuthi vele ibudget seyitawucala letinkundleni. Kuyajabulisa ke kakhulu. Mina nje US songangiphasisela etikweni lokuthi even nale RDF seyicela lokuthi vele sale mali siyi-owner. Hayi lokuthi sale kupheka ukuthi imali isatothi yojika kuphi kunjani kude yona le mali.
Mabhalane lomncane etiko letinkhundla Ngcayizivele Dlamini uthi lena solo indlela yekumikisa lusito lwahulumende dvutane nesive.
Sibonga nalokuthi besinabo baka internal audit nabo batawukhulumisa tindzaba tema-risk because nyalo phela sesizama ku-empower tinkhundla ukuthi going forward tonke ema-items la less than 50,000 sesifuna ukuthi tinkhundla tibe empowered batendele bona baformishe a procurement committee enkundleni.
Lo mhlangano ke ucale ngemsombuluko kanti kubhekeke ukuthi ufike emaphethelweni ngalesibili. Umbiko uhlanganiswe ngithembelihle Magutshwa esimunye.
Intsengo yelubisi kanye nekudla lokukhicitwa ngelubisi kusolakala ukuthi kutawuba kunengi etitolo kanti-ke phindze intsengo yako ingahlehle kulamaholide letako. Somnotfo Thembi Nkosi Dube uthi lokhu kutshengisa ubudlelwane lobuhle nalobutimele emakethe ngoba-ke nakucala lenyanga lesetulu icale ngekubabete lubisi etitolo lokwenteke ukuthi bathengi babukele etinye tindlela letingcono naletishiphile tekusebentisa lubisi noma-ke bayekele kusebentisa tintfo letikhicitwa ngelubisi.
Lesikubonile ukuthi in the past months kube ne-shortage yelubisi. Kunana kulokhu kuthiwa ngama-market forces la ngona ende kokuthi nangabe i-supply incane kanti i-demand solisedulu kwenda ukuthi ama-market forces endele intsengo bese iya edulu. So sidaba abaningi labafunako kanti supply incane iyakhuphuka intsengo. Ngoko lesekubonile esikhatsini lesedlulile nakuba bede lamanye ama-brands emabisi emashelfini kwakhanzakala ke ukuthi sekuba naleyo nkinga. Malese sikubonile ibese iyabuya leyo brand lawo ma-brands lawo asaba maningi kwase futhi kuvuleka sithuba salamasha kusangene emarket. Athena kangena ke kwase kuba ne-supply leningi. Shothi i-supply yase iba enough ukuthi ingafuca ema-prices abuyele phansi stabilize. kusho ukuthi nje singathi singakhuluma ngale lesingisi kube ngama-market forces more than anything. Lokuyona-ke thina bosomnotho sikujabulela lokhu ukuthi inzengo ibekwe noma-ke isethwe ngama-market forces ngoba lokho ku-reflecta ukuthi inzengo imakethe isebenza kanjani kude lo imanipulate-ako kodwa ukhanza ukuthi iyadi-correcta yona nangabe kunenkinga. Well, as we approach Christmas and asithi nje festive season ngoba akusi Christmas kuphela. So kufuna sibe bantu labathenga ngekucabangela phambili kule ma-fluctuations lekushintsha kwalenzengo khanza supply sekude tindvo kufuna bese sowuyayishintsha indlela lothenga ngayo ungasathengi maybe ukuthi namhlanje ngithenga lokho futhi ungathengi ukhanza uthenga lokunengi kakhulu sekuzokuya konakalela so kudzinga nje ukuthi kusho ukuthi ube nayo i-shock absorber kusho ukuthi lo takubeka ukuthi nangithi ngiyaya esitolo ngiyothenga libisi ngikhanzela ngekho ngisachubeka ukuthi ngiqhubeke ngilale ngidlile ngikhona ukugojotisa litiya ngelibisi. So in other words indlela i-pattern lesisebenzisa ngayo noma lesithenga ngayo lemcoka ukuthi si-manage ama-supplies ethu etindlini.
Indvuna yetemafa umhlonishwa Neil Reichenberg ithi eminyakeni lotako uhulumende utawusicetsa sikweleti lesilinganiselwa ku-2 billion emalangeni lasiboleka-ke noma lasibolekwa inhlangano yemali emhlabeni i-International Monetary Fund nakubhedvuka umkhuhlane i-COVID-19. Indvuna ikuvete lokhu ngesikhathi ichaza ngetinkulumiswano letibe khona emhlanganweni lebekadze-ke ungenele we-World Bank kanye ne-International Monetary Fund even leMelika.
Indvuna yetemafa umhlonishwa Neil Reichenberg nelibandla lelibuya kuleli beyingenele lemihlangano yekwephetsa umnyaka yelibhange lemhlaba i-World Bank kanye nenhlangano yemali emhlabeni i-International Monetary Fund even leMelika lapho bekudzingidwa khona tindzaba tekutfutfukisa nekwesekelwa kwemave ngemali kulokunye. Indvuna ithi njengoba leSwatini lesekelwa ngemali lelinganiselwa ku-2 billion emalangeni nakubhedvuka umkhuhlane i-COVID-19 lesikwelete uhulumende utasicetsa ekupheleni kweminyaka lotako.
If one will recall, in Eswatini, we had a crisis during COVID, and we got a rapid loan from the IMF for $110 million. This money is very quick to get if you're in a crisis, but at the same time, you've got to repay it quickly. So right now, we're busy repaying that loan as Eswatini, and by the end of 2025, we will have finished repaying that loan from the IMF. The World Bank, though, is really different. It helps us in Eswatini very much with a lot of our projects. They just supply funding for projects that we'd like to do. So at the moment, we have projects, the electricity project going from that line from Hlangano to Lavomisa. It was an 11 kVA line. It's now going to 132 kVA line. Those big power lines, once he's coming up there, they're helping us with a loan for that. They're doing water projects also there towards Mhlosheni, Zombotsa area, the big water project going on there. They are the ones funding that. It's an education project, a health project.
Indvuna iphindze yachaza ukuthi kule mihlangano bakhulumisene ne-World Bank kude kubukwe indlela live lelibhadala ngayo sikweleti salelibhange lapho khona kubukwa ukuthi leSwatini lingabhadali ngemadola kepha kube marandi khona kungete udula kakhulu kubhadala lesikweleti. Umhlonishwa uthi kuphindze kwakhulunyiswana ngekuthi leSwatini lingabolekwa njani lenye imali.
We meet with subcommittees of both of these entities, so we're discussing possible new loans. At the same time, we are just having discussions with the World Bank of restructuring our debt, possibly moving it from US dollar debt into ZAR, which means South African rands, which would help us a lot in the sense that our currency is obviously linked to the rand. So it might be slightly more expensive, but at the same time, it takes out the currency risk.
Umhlonishwa uthi uhulumende uhlelane ukuthi afunele eminye imithelo lengakolekwa nomeke anzise bantfu netinkampane naletinye tinhlobo temthelo kunekuthi kukhule umthelo lapha eveni. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla nginavuma inkosi Nzinisa eMbambane.
Inhlangano yebangcwabi Eswatini Funeral Practitioners Association isebenzisana netinkampani letibuya emaveni yemhlaba lehlukene lekufaka ekhatsi leMelika kubuka indlela yokuthuthukisa kwenta ibhizinisi kuleli. Libo mnisi lobuya enhlanganweni yebangcwabi eveni leNingizimu Afrika iSouth African Funeral Practitioners Association uthi kubambisana kutawusita ukuthi imindeni yemaveni lehlukene isitakale kangcono futhi ke masinyane.
Livela kangwane lisarandwe iSouth Africa kakhulu. We've got Mpumalanga, KZN, kakhulu, then immediately there's Gauteng. So kumcoka lokuthi bede babe part of it, and especially ukuthi eMaswati ethu lamaningi asebenza eSouth Africa and sinetihlobo eSouth Africa, labase South Africa banetihlobo la kangwane. So kumcoka kakhulu ukuthi sibakhele ubudlelwane sikule industry ekungcoba ukuze uma sinetinkinga sikhone ukufundzisana.
Edith Churchman lobuya ebhizinisini yebangcwabe eveni leMelika uthi kubambisana kumcokwa njengoba ibhizinisi yebangcwabe kuleli itawuthola lwati lolujulile kuleyo yaseMelika ngekwenta ibhizinisi.
The wonderful things about this association, forming this association going forward, is the opportunity to regulate funeral service in Eswatini and to make a good collaboration with not only the Funeral Directors Association, but with government and with various government departments for the betterment of funeral service and for the betterment of professionalism and care for the Eswatini people.
Libomnisi wenhlangano yebangcwabe eveni leNingizimu Afrika uthi batayelekelela inhlangano yebangcwabe kuleli kakhulu ngobe siningi isive lesisishiyako emhlabeni sisebenta kulamave lamabili.
Kuyanciphisa tindleko ngoba uma unebangani eSouth Africa sikwenda ngendlela yokuthi kube khona la sichargeana sifike khona singadluli njengebangcwabe. Uma uya nje eSouth Africa uyocela lusito ku noma ngangibani angabita la afuna khona, and ekugcineni kuhlupheka lo mndeni lo gcina bhadala letindleko leti.
I-Eswatini Funeral Practitioners Association inemabhizinisi ebangcwabi langu-22 kulangu-25 lapha eveni. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelsi Wendlangamandla, nginavuma inkosi Nzinisa eMbabane.
Tindzaba temidlalo, umceceshi welikhethelo lesive esihlangu semnikati Draco Lugarisic uthi badlali bakhomba kuba nelwati ekuthaneni kubita ini ukuthi uncobe umdlalo welikhethelo lesive. Umceceshi uthi wonke umdlali kulelikhethelo usebentela kumele lalive kahle.
Likhethelo lesive esihlangu semnikati lincobe umdlalo waso ekuqala wekuhlungela indzebe yeChan nelikhethelo lesive laseZimbabwe emidlalweni lobodlalelwa eFrancistown eBotswana lokwenda ukuthi bangalungiselela umlento wesibili banalo lithemba ukuthi batawuchubekela esigabeni lesilandzelako. Umceceshi welikhethelo lesive Lugarisic lokhulume nalomsakazo uthi badlali bakhe sekuyabonakala ukuthi badlala ngendlela lasekayifuna yena.
It's not easy to score 3 goals away. It doesn't matter you play against any team. On international level, Scali was working very, very hard, and my coach is telling me they never saw Scali to work hard like that. That's very, very nice from him, because all of them, they show the commitment to the country and they try to give the best of them, and the result followed us. Today training, tomorrow 2 trainings, Thursday morning a training, tactical, then we have to travel again. Saturday let us produce positive result, and then a few days rest, and then we have to focus for the Guinea-Bissau game and Mali game. This is busy month, but we have enough players which can cover positions.
Nangabe sichubekela esigabeni lesilandzelako sihlangu kulomdlalo sitawutfolana eTulu neMadagascar. Lobikela umsakazo eSwatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzombe kuhlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Mengameli wenhlangano ye-Q Sports kuleli Muntu Dlamini uthi kudlalisa kahle umqhudelwano weRoyal Eswatini Pool Tournament. Kuphindze kwaba inkhomba ukuthi livela kuleli liyathuthuka emidlalweni wepool. Dlamini bekakhuluma ngemuva ukuthi licembu leRoyal Eswatini Pool lidlalise kahle umqhudelwano wekucala lapha eveni lebewungenelwe ngemave lamathathu lokuyiLesotho, iNingizimu Afrika kanye neLeswatini. Tingako temidlalo kanti tingako futhi nje nato tindzaba teSwati lomhla ekseni sitiphetsa lapho sibahlola emarket sitabuya masinyane sichubeke nehlelo.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007*3*7#, or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back. Sikuvuselana uLosanza kusivulele as mentioned masingene ehlelweni ukuthi sizabe sicocisana na Regional Civil Registrar eDekoleta sekhaya Phumlani Zwane. Sifuna nje ukukhuluma abantu ngemsebenzi labaqhubeka kulamalanga ukuzama nje ukunyusa lezinga lebatali lababhalisela bantu ababo certificate dekudala njengoba baveta ukuthi inombolo silotise phasi kakhulu. Ngaloko ke iDekoleta sekhaya lazama ukuthi libambisane neDekoleta empilo ukuthi bomake nabacetha kubeleka nje babhalise abantu ababo certificate dekudalwa. Kanti ke nekungeda nje kuloko iDekoleta sekhaya labese lisukumisa umsebenzi we-mopping exercise ngekuzama nje ukuthi bamfu bayibhalisele le mininingwane lena kuto khona iDekoleta ukhona kufaka le mininingwane ku data yabo. Phumlani Zwane sesivele sinaye asikuvusele mangwene sabanga ukuthi benathi lomhla ekseni kungaba kuva nje ukuthi vele sikuphi inyalo ngotindzaba te birth registration sakhumbula lokuthi solo vele niyabika lokho ukuthi inombolo solo tise phasi neze nje nisukumisa lo hlelo lokubambisana Ministry of Health ukuthi bomake babhalise nabacisa nje kubeleka idibhedlela sisimephi kakhulu kade nje nasibuka abamfana labangephansi komnyaka lelesihlanu.
Ngiyabonga lolu uvusene mbukele ekhaya. Lo bhaliso live la kangwane lo lisesephasi kwanyalo. Kepha ke kuyasijabulisa kubona ukuthi inombolo takhona inombolo letinyuka. Ngoba sibuka ngale completeness yabantu lababhalisako ngesikhathi ukuthi babangakanani. Lo mnyaka nje liku 43%, kanti lo mnyaka liku 43%, lo mnyaka lophelile beliku 36%. Lenyuka bo 2016 beliku 23%, kancane kancane lenyuka. Kepha ke ngalendlela lenyuka ngayo ayisiyo indlela lejabulisako. Kungako kugcine kubonakala ukuthi no akuhambe kuyo laba le certificate dekudalwa tebantu atibhaliswe leti ibhedlela lapho labantwana babelekelwa khona sikhathi lesiningi. Kuyiwe ke nga-2020 kwabhaliswa certificate ibhedlela cala 2020 ibhedlela leti-2 letikhona la iveni kusembabane nase-RFM. Setivuliwe ke letiningi ibhedlela bo Pix Peak Nhlangano Hlatikhulu kuthi le certificate tekudalwa tebantwana kakhulu tibhaliswe ngesikhathi. Kepha ke inombolo solo vele
atisito letijablisako.
Atijabulisileni isala kuphi ngoba ngiyakholelwa ukuthi mhlambe bonesi bayazama kubacukutela bomake isala kuphi kumbe mhlambe ngibo labatali labangakhona ukubhalisa isala kuphi nani mhlambe nani phenya kabanti.
Isala kithi sobabili kubatali nakithi silihhovisi. Ikakhulukazi batali bomake ngibo bomake labashiya lolusito balishiye khona lesibhedlela ngoba lama office ethu ekubhalisa certificate abantwana inqumbi yawo asemnyango lapho make aphuma khona makacetha kubeleka kuze makacetha kubeleka sebamniketile isifakazelo sekudalwa esibhedlela abese soyabhalisa le certificate sekudalwa kepha ke make uyenca kepha ke kungabeki yonke iblame kumake kakhulu litiko ngekusitwa ma partners laba sola silekelela ngekubona nawo ma partners ukuthi kude lenye indlela lapho khona singabhalisa khona le certificate ngesikhathi ngaphandle kwasesibhedlela sihlangene ne Ministry of Health sikubuka ukuthi ngabe ngiyiphi indlela lesingayenda ibe lula kuze ukuthi wonke umfana abhaliswe le certificate sakhe sekudalwa ngesikhathi ngoba 2030 sodude lulu lapho khona savuma ukuthi nga 2030 wonke umuntu utabe a legally identified live endakangwana.
Yeah. Kunetimo Phumlane mhlambe bomake labaya bathi khanze bakito ngibekise nje Yesu sanza kubeleka kepha ke kunaloko okucabana noma mhlambe kungevani nababo wemfana mhlambe nje uyamphika uthi no akasumfana akhe mhlambe make uyesaba kubhalisa babe wemfana ingabe lapho niyakhona ukuthini imside mhlambe abhalise yena kuphela make as the parent of the child.
Yebo Lulu ngalokuthi vele angithi sisuke singabhalisi babe sisuke singabhalisi make kusuke kubhaliswa umfana lobelekwe ngimake esibhedlela noma angekho babe kulomfana lodelwa ngakubatali labangathathani noma angekho babe umfana certificate sakhe siyabhaliswa sibhaliswe kahle futhi make makakhethile kuthi no lo mfana ngidamniketa lesibongo salo babe ngoba ngiyathi babe womfana ukuthi waka makagulu tawusho umfana waka makagulu noma angekho babe noma angaveli babe kule certificate salomfana kude lapho le certificate leso lapho sixhwale khona ngoba phela babe utasima sithola isikhathi abuye ati afake imininingwane yakhe certificate semfana wakhe sekudala kanti ke futhi lolu kunemthetho phela lomusha wedelibhaliso losovumako ukuthi make angabhalisa certificate semfana aphinze futhi afake nemininingwane yababe wemfana certificate semfana mangabe aphethe sichaza buve iID yababe wemfana kuphinze kube ne declaration shothi incwadi lefungelwe ngibabe kusho ukuthi yebo vele unguye babe wemfana ayinikete make masaka udeda make kuphethe affidavit yababe uphethe iID yababe neyakhe iID sifakazo sekudala usithola khona la sibhedlela ubhalisa certificate semfana usithola ngalelo langa kasibhadaleni uyasitakala na uhulumende
uyasitakala yini futhi mhlambe umtali noma ke make lo ufuna ukuthi abhalise umfana wakhe ngesibongo sakhe yena make nangabe solo tikhona letinkinga lengitivetile nje ukuthi vele kunaloko okungevani nababo wemfana uyakhona yini ukuthi athe bhalise ngamagagula njengabekeza.
Yebo Lulu futhi nalomthetho sokubeka kube sebaleni lokuthi umfana lo bhaliswa ngomake certificate sakhe sekudalwa mangabe babe angekho kule certificate angaveli kule certificate semfana sekudalwa make angatikhethela ukuthi lo mfana amnikete lesibongo sakhe make le ngubuka ngazuthi kungcono ngiko lokukahle kunekuthi make mangabe angasisho ukuthi lo mfana wakabani abese soyacagela amnikete isibongo lesinye lesihlukile amnikete noma babe lomunye lohlukile ngoba mase kufanele ukuthi amnikete isibongo lesakhe mbamba manje lo mfana sekutawudzeka ukuthi alandwe lo ekunene atochaza asho ukuthi cha vele angisuye babuye mfana labanye abafuni labanye bese abasafuni nekhulumisana ngoba plus ncese kuvele nekucabana kulenza abayimfana
lo shothi bese kuba iprocess mhlambe nasofuna ukuphinza umbuyisele esibongweni sakho noma mhlambe esibongweni sababe wakhe yena lo mntala kombamba.
Yebo bese kuba iprocess ngisho so ufuna ke manje kumsusa kulobabe lobotsite wakhe kanza kasuye babe noma abufuna sofuna kumnika sakho wena manje tawudzeka ukuthi lobabe asho ukuthi cha ude inkinga ngetenkulumo lesemtendile lesinye isikhathi abavumi bobabe sekucela nje bobabe ukuthi kuleyo process leyo kuyendeka vele ukuthi make amnikete babe longasuye umfana kepha ke mangabe sekutholakele siyacela kusobobaba phela abavume kusho ukuthi nathi esikhulumile namake angisuye bevile babe mfana ngoba phela naye baba kumsidi ukuthi achubeke athi angeke ambambise make ukuthi basuse lemniningwane yakhe babe certificate ngoba phela akasuye wakhe vele lo mfana dawukhanza ukuthi lo mfana so benefited intweni langafanele sa benefit kudo.
Okay, njengoba usho nje Phumlani ukuthi inombolo soloti passed ku register 43% nanguve kahle. Yini ke lenindako as a ministry mhlambe nibambisene nalo tikulo tempile ukucinisa kona isiqiniseko ukuthi vele bomake nabaphuma nje esibedlela banalo liphepha lokuthi sibambhasela umfana apha.
Yebo lo. Mangithi lesi lokunye lokwenta ukuthi libhaliswe bencane incebe isalana ngakithi ukuthi sihamba saya esibedlela sabheka office sathi bomake abede batobhalisa singakaba khutsati. Kunana kulokuthiwa i-antenatal care lapho make khona kuthiwa ka-ANC lapho make khona ahambela khona esibedlela asesekhulelwe bamfundisa esibedlela ukuthi make mawukhulele wenda nako sicelile basivumela ke esibedlela ukuthi nathi nenzaba yelibhaliswa kwesitifiketi itawucala khona le ka-antenatal care sifundzise bomake ukuthi yini lokuye lokudzingekako babe nemibuto labangayenda kuze ukuthi makufika lelanga labo lekubeleka ukhanze ukuthi tonke letinto labatidzingako nalendlela bafuna kubhalisa ngayo loyo mfana wakhe nelibito lemfana sovele uyalada makufika isikhathi sekubeleka uyabeleka umfana wakhe uphuma naye esibedlela anebuve bakhe umletha even sovele unebuve umfana lokunye ukuthi nathi sima bo civil registration officers sivumelene nesibedlela ukuthi sitawusukuma lapha etitulweni la sihleli khona lama office la sibhalisela khona certificate sithathe lamabhuku lesibhalisa ngawo siye khona le ezezeni siyobabhalisela khona vele siyobakhombisa nalokuthi kumcwa kanganani lokuthi umfana wakhe lamthandzako abe nebuve at birth abe neligama futhi abe neminyaka lofanele ngalelanga latalwa ngayo siye khona lemawadini siyobabhalisela le certificate tikudala athi makaphuma make ngalapha abe ahlangabezwa certificate sakhe semfana wakhe sekudalwa nekuthi ke lokunye sibonile lokuthi esibedlela tonke esibedlela kubelekiswa khona abantwana tinema boundaries bese kuba na security egedeni lapho khona sonke singena khona futhi siphuma khona sivile nekuthi kunetinye tinto letiningi tesibedlela letingaphumi esibedlela letitala sibedlela lekufana nabo x-ray sivile os x-ray nje ayiphuma esibedlela sicelile ke basachubeka basacela labadzala belitiko basabukisana nebaka health ukuthi nemvana phela so utelo langekhathi esibedlela make ungene ayedwana kepha sowuphuma nemuntu siphi certificate lesikhomba ukuthi lo mfana unebuve vele ufanele ukuthi edelive bo security ke batawucelwa ngekukwatiswa nababuke lamatiko amabili ukuthi nemvana phela lo tawuphuma egedeni make akavete certificate semvana sebuve ukuthi nasi certificate semvana sebuve ukuze ukuthi akhone kuphuma naye egedeni.
So le process le nje mhlambe le ekubhalisa ubese ke make usitfola nini certificate same day noma mhlambe kumele bese soyabuya emahovisini elitiko atosithatha
usithola ngaleso sikhathi elulu le certificate machaza nje kusibhalisa ngaleso sikhathi uyasithola make certificate sakhe sekudala kanti vele umthetho uthi umfana lo delela iveni lo ngephasi kweminyaka inyanga letimbili 60 days certificate akasibhadaleli certificate usithola ngaleso sikhathi futhi
so nasikhuluma ngetindzaba tabo late registration I think uyithinsile nayo lokuthi vele naye solo niyayibona lokuthi vele bomake bayaphuta sikhuluma ngesikhathi lesinganani umfana naseka over 5 years over 10 years kuba ngimaphi nje lama situations lengena wabona nje as a ministry
bantwana labaningi lababhaliswako lesikhathi lesengcile bekubantwana laba sebalungele kuya esikolweni sebanabo 5 years kana khumbula make ukuthi awu esikoleni nakhona sove ngathishela ukuthi kutawudzingeka ukuthi lo mfana abe nepin personal identification number kutawudzingeka ukuthi abe ne-certificate khani make asukuma ayobhalisa certificate sekudalwa semfana wakhe kepha-ke labangephasi kweminyaka kudumisa nje ukuthi cha eMaswati lo mnyaka lophelile ababhalisile abantwana babo ngoba ema-late registrations lo mnyaka lophelile nje abe ngo-37% kubantwana lababhalisiwe kulowo mnyaka loyo so abe phasi kakhulu kepha-ke 37% mningi uma ubuka ukuthi la malayini lakhona la ema-ofisini ethu ngemalayini etinto lese diphelelwe lesikhathi bantu labatobamba emalayini bantu labatobhalisa tinto lesekuphelele isikhathi noma ke ma-ID chaza buveta ama-ID alahlekile kepha-ke labo leti benta tinto njenge-ID nje kude sidingo sokuthi i-ID uyibhatalele ngoba uma una-16 uhamba wente i-ID ude nelilanga lelibekelwe lona ukuthi wente ngalo uma una-16 nje uthatha i-birth certificate yakho umntwana ahambe ende i-ID yakhe kodwa iyavalwa ema-ofisi asuke avuliwe ahambe ende i-ID tawuphuma.
Yeah, so nasibuka yona nje le birth registration engabe mhlawumbe ama-activities noma-ke ama-events such as nje trade fair nemsebenzi le-exercise leni ucubako bokukolobha i-mopping exercise kusithi leni ukuthi kungete leti nombolo tabomake lababhalisela abamfa babo.
Yebo kusitile lulu kakhulu ku-mopping exercise kuyasida kakhulu i-mopping exercise ngekuthi kwakhona le esibhedlela la sifuna kuyobhalisela sibhalisa khona nyalo certificate tebantwana tekudalwa lokunye lesihlangana nako ukuthi kuze kuthi umuntu abhalisele umntwana certificate sakhe sekudala kufuneka ukuthi abe ne-ID uthola ke ukuthi make sowubeleke umntwana kwanaye make akakabhaliswa le certificate sekudala i-mopping exercise ke isilekelela ngaloko ukuthi bonke labantu labadzala labakhona babhaliswe le certificate tekudala ngekubanjiswa imiphakathi lekhona la even la Kangwane kuze kusibate ukukhona sima bafika esibhedlela sababelekile babhaliswe le certificate tekudala eshle sikubonako kopha kuyathi ngiyokuloko kuyasimangalisa ukuthi solo baningi bantu labangabhalisa certificate tekudala i-mopping exercise isikhombisile bomake labaningi labahlala emakhaya bayabeleka abantwana lomunye nje make bekana 7 abantwana yena make bayangabhalisa bonke labantwana bisho sibebede certificate tekudala ngalokuthi make yena bayangabhaliselwa certificate sekudala.
Yeah, siselapho nje ku-mopping exercise yakumele ukuthi vele solo nehle nenyuka nelitiko neyangena etifundzeni engabe njengoba umnyaka soto uphela utawuthatha inditayithatha ini break nibuye eminyakeni otako noma ndawuchubeka kanjalo.
Yebo lolo sitayithatha i-break kulo Thursday lo utawubuya communications communications officer tokhuluma ngako but ke itawuthathwa i-break esitibhalisiwe certificate tiningi ma Swaziland and Customs marriages abhalisiwe maningi but ke itawuchubeka lo mnyaka lotako i-mopping exercise ngoba egcine ngwakhona kufuneka ukuthi agcine endiwe yonke imiphakathi lekhona la event Kangwane.
Okay, kokugcina nje mhlambe kusikhumbuta leto tibhedlela lapho khona le service ekubhalisela certificate itholakala khona.
Kusembabane government kuse RFM kuse Hlatikhulu kuse Nhlangano kuse Pix Peak kuse Matsanjeni kutabe kulungile very soon. Okay. Bese sekuba se Emkhuzweni nakhona certificate tekudala tiyabhaliswa.
Alright, sibakhulu Phumlani isikhathi sakho mbukela ukuthi vele besikhulumisana na Phumlani izwana losuku etiko letasekhaya sivetsela nje sithombe sebatali lababhalisela abantu ababo certificate tekudalwa lavetele ukuthi sise ku 43% lekunombulo lephasi ngawo ke uyacela ukuthi bomake nabasanza kubeleka batibhalisele certificate tebamfa babo tekudalwa. Saselkhefu sizabe ne traffic update.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Asimze sinemukele kusele imizuzu lesihlanu sishaya insimbi esikhombisa lomhla ekuseni sifuna ukuva simo semgwaqo lomhla na Inspector Sehlo Dlamini. Inkosi sikuvusele kuhambeka kanjani lomhla ekuseni?
Angikho
ngivusele Mthombeni ngivusele nabo bonke lebabukela wona umsakazo weSwazi TV namuhla ekseni imigaqo yelive sevele siyisholile lesikubonile ke lokungaphazamisa yena umshayeli kulapha nawukhuphuka na indzaba yalapha emankwayane ubheke khona bomehlo abovu kune combination ye-truck lapho lenkulu levale munye ke umzila lokhuphukako siyanxusa nje ke kwekuthi emaswati ashayele ngalokukhulu ukucophelela nakasuka kumankayane abheke khona bomehlo abovu kepha ke timpawu lesikhombisako traffic coins phela akhona endela ukuthi emaswati abone atokhona kwekuthi abuvikele bona bongoti lapho khona bangathi khanza sebayishayisa ngemuva khona ngiphinde ngisho ke ukuthi endaweni lesiphakeme kufaka khona yona yasemankayane emtimane sivukasi nayo inkungu kufaka ikhathi nalapha nawukhuphukela lapha itulo bospiki nakhona ikhona inkungu nalapha edolobheni kahlathi nakhona kumbonye inkungu namuhla ekseni nangehlela la ngendasi ke enhlangano khona sifike sakhanza ibane taseposini singasebenzi kani ke emadolobheni sifaka ikhathi manzini khona tibane lebetingasebenzi ngunatiyata lapha eRiverstone la etulu edolobheni lasembabane kuyasebenza tibane cishe tonke nakumathapha ngalokunjalo kungaba kunxusa nje ke kwekuthi nawuhamba ikakhulu ubheke khona elihlangano lapha nawutawufika lapha kuna icomplex kunemhlaba longena khona emgwaqweni nalapha embili ngaseNazarene nakhona kukanjalo nawuthatha lo mkhukudla lobheke ngakhona eshiselweni ngaphindze futhi ngisho ukuthi nase Big Bend nakhona sitibonile tikhilikisi tawo phela umhlaba longena khona ekhasi emgwaqweni lo wenda khona kushayela kuthi kube ngikhunyakhunyana lokubangwe ngito imvula lesisuka kudo ngaphandle kwaloko indzaweni letiningi kuyahambeka ngaphandle kwayo phela imisebenzi lesachubeka kufaka ikhathi ku-interchange uya lapha emathayini nalapha kaShangri-La nalapha etulu emzimbovu nakhona solo kuyachithekwa nemisebenzi lovamise kuba khona cishe wonke malanga ngaphandle kwaloko kude lenkubikako ngithembe kwekuthi emaswati atawuthaphephe atayisebenzisa imigwaqo yelive Thombeni.
Yevakala simakhulu Nkosi kusivetela sithombe sesimo semigwaqo lomhla ekseni bekuye inspector Sehlo Dlamini asivetela ukuthi emigwaqweni yelive kuyahambeka ngaphandle kwetindzawo letithikabeto etemadolobheni lathida sethelkhefu nasibuya sasatindzaba desilumbi
kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
abaresearche bafunze
being risky it means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula
nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusembili
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho
sivile sive sitikhulume. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is the news at 7. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Russell Dlamini, says it is of paramount importance for the country to strengthen its bilateral and trade agreements with other COMESA member states. Dlamini was speaking at the King Mswati III International Airport before departing to Bujumbura to represent His Majesty King Mswati III at the 23rd COMESA Summit.
This year's summit will be anchored on the theme, accelerating regional integration through the development of regional value chains in climate-resilient agriculture, mining, and tourism. The Prime Minister left the kingdom through the King Mswati III International Airport for Burundi.
Siyomelela khona inkosi yelive emhlanganeni weComesa. Umhlangano wethengiselana emave ase-Afrika. Sitawubamba khona kumhlangano emalanga lama-3 bese-ke sesiyabuya ekhaya. Nawubuka live laKangwane, imarket yelive laKangwane incane, 1.2 million people. Lokusho ukuthi-ke nasibe ne-industry noma umkhicito lomkhulu kufuna ukuthi sibe ne-market lenkulu. So kuba-ke ingxenye yalenhlangano ukhulisa imarket la singathengisa khona. Lokusho ukuthi-ke netinkampani letinye letingafisa kutokuganeka la Kangwane tingaganeka ngoba tiyati ukuthi lokhu lesikhicita kwasikhiciteli nje abantu laba-1.2 million, but sikhicitela abantu labanyenti kakhulu base-Afrika. I-Afrika i-population yakhona nyalo ibekiswa la kubo-1.4 billion webantu. So-ke kumqoka kakhulu ukuthi silive leMaswati sivele sibuqinisa ubudlelwano bethu nalamave akaComesa sitokhona ukuthi sithengiselane.
Preceding the summit will be the COMESA Business Forum, a high-level dialogue focusing on engaging public and private stakeholders on solutions that will support transformation of COMESA into competitive and sustainable growing economies. The President of Burundi, His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, is expected to take over the chairmanship of COMESA from Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema. For Eswatini TV News, I am LinkedIn Gule, KM3.
The acting Minister of Finance, Apollo Mapalala, says a review of money laundering legislation is critical to avoid being added on money laundering grey list. The Honourable Minister was speaking in Parliament on Tuesday.
Senator Pililo Mkonda, seconded by Senator Lindiwe Ngwenya, moved that the Senate adopt a report of the Portfolio Committee on the Anti-Money Laundering, Counter-Financing of Terrorism, Miscellaneous Amendment Bill.
Sitikhulumisile President indzaba letinengi kwakhulunyiswa nendzaba yokuthi na uphuma iborder gate imali bewusolo ukukhona ukuthi imali longete wayideclare uphume nayo egedeni bekungu-15,000 itolo ba shinto ke bathi bende ke bo risk based assessment babuka ke cha sebangayikhuphukhuphula bayikhephe lapha ku-25,000 emalangeni lo ngakhona ukuthi ungene nayo uphume nayo even ungakayideclare keja ke lengetulu kwaleyo sekufuna vele ukuthi uyideclare.
Senators made submissions in support of the bill.
Lo mthetho lomcoka noma ngabe yini even lephethelene nemali kuyakufuneka ukuthi kube kuhlobe ukuthi leyo mali ichamuka kanjani ihamba njani. Lo mthetho asinawo nje bongakhanza athi sesibitwa njengemavela amanye lapho kuthiwa hawu Kangwane ngoba khona la ngengafunza khona kuthiwa Kangwane ngilapho kuwashwa imali khona.
Sicela ukuthi lo mthetho ungafrustrate sive seMaswati noma sikwenda konke lokhu, let us be careful ukuthi singabese sesilimata ibusiness singalimata itrade singalimata futhi nekuthuthuka kwesive seMaswati.
After the Honourable Minister moved that the Senate constitute itself into a committee of the whole House to consider the bill, the Minister appreciated the House.
Umthetho utelektos italive nekuthi ema transactions lesiwendako in the financial landscape emekahle libe nesithundi lesifanele kule area yetimali mengameli kulokubonga kwethu ke mengameli singabe solo sibonga nakhona etimpungeni lokuthi umthetho seke kwavela kanengi lapha lokuthi leli gonso bese lilikhulu.
The committee also informed the Senate that the bill has to be passed before the end of this month to avoid the Kingdom of Eswatini from being added on the grey list of money laundering countries. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Siwekoza with Smuva Shongwe and Bongan Masugu, Parliament.
The Minister of ICT, Senator Savannah Mazia, says partnering of all stakeholders involved can play a big role in combating cybercrime. The minister was represented by the PS in the ministry, Peshia Dube, during a workshop of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary on cybersecurity.
Different stakeholders, including the Eswatini Communications Commission, the judiciary, the police force, and the Ministry of ICT, had a capacitation workshop to discuss issues of cybersecurity, including the impact of cybercrime in the country. The Minister for ICT, Senator Savannah Mazia, says coming together of all stakeholders involved will eventually combat crime. The minister was represented by the Principal Secretary in the ministry, Peshia Dube.
The willingness to engage with these laws and build expertise in this field reflects your enduring commitment to justice and public safety. We all recognize that cybercrime has become a daunting reality, evolving rapidly and targeting the vulnerable and unsuspecting.
SECOM CEO Mvulawembi Dlamini laments, saying that the public is losing millions of emalangeni through cybercrime.
Today, we'll delve into several crucial areas, including the understanding the most prevalent types of cybercrime. We'll explore the various categories of cybercrime and their specific impacts on our nation.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Lomvula Hlope, says cybercrime undermines the stability of the country.
I was informed that advocate has assisted even other jurisdictions in developing the training manual. She has developed a number of programs on the issue of cybercrime. And I know that most of you are aware that how many cases have we had in court?
The National Commissioner of Police representative, Mamsi Dlamini, says technological expertise is needed.
We note and record that due to cybercrime's complexity and evolving nature, a partnership between the public and private sector is essential for a unified response.
There are already suspects who are in the hands of the police in relation to cybercrime. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Kiani Msibi with Smuva Shongwe, Mbabane.
Senate President Senator Lindiwe Dlamini says being a legislator demands a high level of integrity. Senate President was speaking in Parliament during an assets declaration exercise by the Eswatini Commission on Human Rights and Public Administration.
As per Section 241 of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Eswatini, senators on Tuesday were assisted by the Eswatini Commission on Human Rights and Public Administration to fill up assets declaration forms for the declaration of assets and liabilities. Senate President Senator Lindiwe Dlamini says senators have to lead by example by declaring assets in a quest to promote transparency and integrity among the legislators.
This is as prescribed in the Constitution in Section 241, that when you take up public office, you need to declare assets that you have. And I think this is very important for public trust. It's important for us as politicians to always be aware that we are public servants. And as such, we must be accountable. And as such, once again, people must trust that we know that the offices we occupy demand a high level of integrity, hence even the name of Human Rights and Integrity Commission. So senators have been coming since morning, declaring their assets. There is already a format. It's not the first time that a number of them are doing the declaration. But of course, there are those that are coming into this office for the very first time. So they have been taken through by the Human Rights and Integrity Commission. And we are ready, and we are already declaring.
Section 241 of the Constitution enforces state penalties for non-compliance, underscoring the seriousness of this initiative. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkel Suekoza with Bongan Masugu, Parliament.
A 48-year-old man, Gosnati Emmanuel Tomo, who allegedly harbored accused persons involved in scamming Eswatini out of their money using deceitful methods, particularly through mobile money transactions, has been arrested. The suspect appeared before the Manzini Magistrates Court, facing charges of theft by false pretenses involving 12,000 malangeni.
The first count against Mosnat Emmanuel Tomo is that he contravened sections of the Prevention of the Organized Crime Act of 2018. It is alleged that this crime was committed in the month of June 2024 in Mhlumen area in the Lubombo region. The charge sheet states that Tomo was part of a criminal gang. It further states that the gang engaged in criminal activities by obtaining and stealing a sum of 12,000 belonging to Figiles Funza. The second count is theft by false pretenses. This offense is also said to have occurred in June of this year. The suspect allegedly deceived Sfunza by claiming to assist in removing a virus from her phone and mobile money account. He reportedly asked her to provide him with her mobile money credentials, through which he executed the theft of the 12,000 emalangeni. The final count is contravening sections of the Money Laundering and Financing of Terrorism Prevention Act of 2011. It is further alleged that from the 6th of June 2024 to the 25th of October 2024, at places unknown to the prosecution, Tom unlawfully used money obtained through the commission of the offense. When Tom appeared before the Manzini Magistrate Court, he informed the court that he will hire a legal representative. Principal Magistrate Florence Msibi postponed the case to the 6th of next month, pending committal to the High Court. Tomo's court appearance brings the total number of individuals who appeared in court in the Fakata scam to 12. These suspects are accused of tricking a Maswati into sharing their personal information, allowing the suspect to access the victim's mobile money and bank accounts. The arrested suspects include 7 from Tulwane area, 4 from Kapudla area, and 1 from Sitobelweni. The youngest among them is 19 years old, while the oldest is Tomo, who is aged 48. Some of the accused persons are facing up to 28 different charges. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Manzini Magistrate Court.
The market is expecting an influx in supply of milk and dairy products this holiday season with a substantial price decrease. Economist Tim Gositube says this is a good indication that the market's demand and supply is independent, as the month of October started with a shortage of milk and consumers reacted with either finding cheaper alternatives or not choosing the products at all.
What we've observed in the past months has been the shortage of dairy products, mainly milk, some brands that are not available in the shelves. So what that did was the shortage incited a price increase, mainly due to market forces. When there is a shortage of supply and the demand is huge, the price is more likely to shoot, which is what happened. What we see now, or what we've seen recently, is that these brands have returned, and there's quite a number of even new brands that are now available in the shops. The oversupply or the supply increase has resulted in a fall in the price, which is basically controlled by or directed by market forces. So that is what we have seen. These are good news to the economy. Actually, as economists, we like that the market forces determine the price, which is that's a sign of a healthy economy where the prices are set by the market forces. But the good thing as a consumer, you always want to buy at a low price. So if the price is low, and you anticipate an increase, you can make some speculation and buy at a cheaper price, maybe stock, such that if the price shoots up, maybe in a month's time or 2 months down the line, you still have milk. The good thing about this pasteurized milk is that they take a little time before they expire in the packaging. So it's just to control your stock as a human being or as a consumer to make sure that you have enough such that it can cater. We can just warn people as we go into the festive season that as we have seen the shortage in terms of supply, if you anticipate a shortage, it will be good to utilize whatever is available now and stock. But if you don't, it's fine. But what you have to know is that human beings, we are made to adapt. That's one basic good thing about humanity. We always adapt. In the time there was no milk, we adapted. Some people now are back to tea without milk. We've just adjusted, and there are some other sources that actually have been activated. So as human beings, we always adjust.
Eswatini will finish paying off the about 2 billion emalangeni, which is $110 million loan from the International Monetary Fund which was taken at the height of COVID-19 3 years ago. This was said by the Minister for Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenberg, when sharing details of the discussions they had during a meeting with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in Washington, United States of America.
The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund had their annual meetings this week in Washington, and the Minister for Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenberg, and a team from Eswatini were in attendance. We asked the Minister of Finance on some of the deliberations and how they will impact Eswatini.
If one will recall, in Eswatini, we had a crisis during COVID, and we got a rapid loan from the IMF for $110 million US. This money is very quick to get if you're in a crisis, but at the same time, you've got to repay it quickly. So right now, we're busy repaying that loan as Eswatini, and by the end of 2025, we will have finished repaying that loan from the IMF. The World Bank, though, is really different. It helps us in Eswatini very much with a lot of our projects. They just apply funding for projects that we'd like to do. So at the moment, we have projects, the electricity project going from that line from Hlangano to Lavomisa. It was an 11 kVA line. It's now going to 132 kVA line. Those big power lines, once he's coming up there, they're helping us with a loan for that. They're doing water projects also there towards Mhlosheni, Zombotsa area, the big water project going on there. They are the ones funding that. It's an education project, a health project.
The minister has also highlighted that they want to explore means to broaden the tax base instead of increasing taxes in the country.
We meet with subcommittees of both of these entities, so we're discussing possible new loans. At the same time, we are just having discussions with the World Bank of restructuring our debt, possibly moving it from US dollar debt into ZAR, which means South African rands, which would help us a lot in the sense that our currency is obviously linked to the rand. So it might be slightly more expensive, but at the same time, it takes out the currency risk.
The Minister for Finance is also chairing the Ministers of Finance at the African Union. Honorable Neil Reichenberg also attended the G20 meeting where Ministers of Finance were in discussion on better finance solutions for countries, which will also have an impact on Eswatini. For Market View, Nelson Ngamandla, for Minkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Eswatini Funeral Practitioners Association is now linking up with other international associations as far as the United States of America to ensure eMaswati get assistance in the business with reduced costs across the globe. Libo Mnisi from the South African Funeral Practitioners Association says this is not just a business but a way of supporting families that have lost their loved ones.
Eswatini is surrounded largely by South Africa. We've got Mpumalanga province, we've got KwaZulu-Natal province, and immediately there is Gauteng. It's so important that we partner with them because as Swazis, we work in South Africa. We've got relatives in South Africa. The South Africans have relatives in Swaziland. So it's important that we partner with them to assist each other during funerals, to assist each other on policies, because they've got also policies. And as a country and us still learning in the funeral trade, we will get experienced from South Africa to understand what is happening. In South Africa already, there are training programs for the funeral industry.
Edith Churchman from the National Funeral Directors and Morticians Association from the United States of America shares why networks are important in this business.
One of the wonderful things about this association, forming this association going forward, is the opportunity to regulate funeral service in Eswatini and to make a good collaboration with not only the Funeral Directors Association, but with government and with various government departments for the betterment of funeral service and for the betterment of professionalism and care for the Swatini people.
Libo Mnisi from the South African Funeral Practitioners Association says collaboration will reduce costs.
Definitely, it will. If I can make you an example, moving a body from Joburg to Swaziland, you need embalming, you need this and that. If you have link in South Africa, it makes the cost cheaper. Like what we are promoting as an association. If you're helping your fellow member, there are basic charges that you do, which are regulated. And once you become a member of that association, you get to benefit all of those. And at the end, the families are benefiting at the end of it because the costs are going to be lower and lower as we work together.
The Eswatini Funeral Practitioners Association is a newly formed association that houses 22 funeral home parlors out of 25 in the country. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Dr. Min from Korea has donated medical equipment worth over R1 million to the Eswatini Medical Christian University. The medical equipment will assist students in the medical field.
Dr. Min from Korea has donated medical equipment to the Eswatini Medical Christian University worth R1 million to equip nursing students with knowledge. The Eswatini Medical Christian University Vice Chancellor Paul Liang and Professor J. Park say Dr. Min's donation will be of great assistance to the university.
The words of chapter 20 in relation to today's donation ceremony are the truths that we can see and confirm with our own eyes.
All these items are just located at the Swako clinic. Now we are using that our school clinic. There we just arranging.
The acting principal secretary in the Ministry of Education, Nani Gimnis, says Dr. Mnisi's actions has proved that he is a true friend to the kingdom.
Dr. Min is a friend of the kingdom. Judging from the period he came here and the work that he has done with the royal family, with the government hospital, MGH, Babane Clinic, and the private clinic that he has, and all the good work that he has done for us, we're very grateful, we're thankful, and we wish him speedy recovery.
The donated equipment includes anesthesia machine, surgical instruments, suction machine, autoclave, amongst other things. The donated equipment will be used to train health professionals and leaders while they are preserved in the Health Museum. Reporting, I am Kian Msibi with Smuva Shongwe, Mbabane.
In international news, an Israeli strike on a 5-story building where displaced Palestinians were sheltering the northern Gaza Strip killed at least 93 people early on Tuesday, and many of them women and children, rescuers said. Viewer discretion is advised.
A dead body is lowered from a balcony, wrapped in a rug, then laid with many others in the street. Early on Tuesday, an Israeli strike hit a 5-story building in Beit Lehia, killing dozens, including women and children sheltering from the violence. The Palestinian Civil Emergency Service said many victims were believed to still be trapped under the rubble.
There are tens of martyrs. Many displaced people were living in this house. The house was bombed without prior warning. As you can see, martyrs here and there, body parts hanging on the walls. The neighbors of Beit Lehia, the residents of Beit Lehia.
The Israeli military has repeatedly struck shelters for displaced people in recent months, saying it carried out precise strikes targeting Palestinian militants and that it tried to avoid harming civilians. Injured people from the strike on Beit Lehia were reportedly taken to the nearby Kamal Adwan hospital, which is already reeling from an Israeli raid over the weekend. Starting on Friday, the Israeli military laid siege to the hospital, detaining approximately 100 individuals, mainly hospital staff, and leaving the complex in ruins. Israeli forces said the hospital housed weapons and Hamas militants responsible for the October 7th attacks on Israel, which hospital staff denied. The raid was widely condemned by international human rights organizations. Following this operation, the World Health Organization reported that only 3 doctors remained at the hospital.
President Joe Biden on Monday urged an end to the growing Mideast conflict after Israel struck Iran earlier on Saturday in what Washington said was justified retaliation for a strike on Israel earlier this month. Biden also threw his weight behind a new Egyptian proposal for a two-day ceasefire.
The brutal conflict in the Middle East needs to end, U.S. President Joe Biden said Monday, as Israel's operations in Gaza and Lebanon aimed at Iranian proxy groups followed its strike on military targets in Tehran over the weekend. Biden stopped to address the ongoing war as he cast his vote on Monday and threw his support behind a two-day ceasefire deal proposed by Egypt's leader.
The ceasefire, we should end this war. It should end, it should end, it should end.
U.S. allies agree. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
I am clear that Israel has the right to defend itself against Iranian aggression. I'm equally clear that we need to avoid further regional escalation and urge all sides to show restraint. Iran should not respond. We will continue to work with allies to de-escalate the situation across the region.
Less clear is the position of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who spoke to his nation's legislative body Monday.
This past Saturday, we carried out targeted strikes on dozens of military targets across Iran. We have proven, not for the first time, that Israel's long arm will reach any place from which a call to destroy Israel is made.
And Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei said Monday vaguely that Tehran would respond.
We will use all tools available for a decisive and effective response to the Zionist regime's aggression. The type of our answer will be based off the type of the attack.
The U.S. State Department on Monday warned Iran not to respond to Israel's October 26th response to Iran's October 1st missile attack on Israel. Spokesman Matthew Miller warned that if Iran did respond, the U.S. would continue to defend Israel. And responding to concerns about the dire humanitarian situation, Miller spoke against an Israeli law that seeks to ban the United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency.
They really play an irreplaceable role right now in Gaza, where they're on the front lines getting humanitarian assistance to the people they need it. There's nobody that can replace them right now in the middle of the crisis. So we continue to urge the government of Israel to pause the implementation of this legislation.
Israel's parliament overwhelmingly approved the measure on Monday, 92-10. Analysts aren't sure this cycle of violence between Iran, Iranian proxies, and Israel will stop.
I think that the United States and its allies make these calls and warn Iran don't, but then Iran does. So I think that the U.S. has eroded deterrence with respect to the Islamic Republic, and I'm not really sure the leadership in Tehran takes these warnings seriously.
And Washington observers are asking, will this end before Biden becomes a lame duck president with next Tuesday's election? But for the people caught in the middle, a different question.
Iran on Monday executed 69-year-old German and Iranian Jamshid after years in captivity, media in the Islamic Republic said, sparking outrage in Germany and beyond.
More than a year and a half after his sentencing, Iranian state media confirmed on Monday that Jamshid Sharmad had been executed. Born in Iran in 1955, Sharmad moved to Germany in the 1980s, where he was granted citizenship. And in 2003, he would move to the United States and later gain residency. A dissident journalist known for criticizing the Iranian regime on Persian-language TV channels, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is calling his execution a scandal, while Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said that even under the new government, no one is safe in Iran.
We have told Tehran on several occasions that the execution of a German national would have serious consequences.
Sharmad was convicted of involvement in an attack on a Shiraz mosque in 2008 that killed 14. His arrest, a complex operation according to Tehran, and a kidnapping according to his family in Dubai in 2020 when he was changing planes en route back to the US from India. Upon learning of her father's death, his daughter Giselle Sharmad has made her anger known, directed at the US and German governments.
We will see in a few hours if these two incompetent and corrupt governments can tell me tonight what have they done for 4 years when their German-American national was kidnapped in Dubai and taken to Iran by force, besides abandoning you in every hostage negotiation.
Several Europeans are still detained in Iran, among them at least 3 French citizens.
Lebanon's Hezbollah movement announced on Tuesday it has chosen Deputy Head Naim Qassem to succeed Hassan Nasrallah as leader after his death in an Israel strike on South Beirut last month.
For more than 3 decades, Sheikh Naim Qassem was Hezbollah's deputy leader and a dedicated spokesperson for the group.
We, as Hezbollah, will continue to acquire strength, increase in number, and prepare as much equipment as we can in order to persist on the field, facing Israel and those behind it.
Now he has claimed the top spot. On Tuesday, Hezbollah's Shura Council chose Qassem to succeed Hassan Nasrallah as Secretary General after he was killed in an Israeli strike on September 27th. But it was not a straightforward succession path. In the months since, Hezbollah has suffered a series of blows. Just weeks after Nasrallah's death, Hashem Safieddine, considered his most likely predecessor, was also killed in an Israeli airstrike. And the Israeli government has already warned that Qassem could be next.
His tenure in this position may be the shortest in the history of this terrorist organization if he follows in the footsteps of his predecessors, Hassan Nasrallah and Hashem Safieddine.
Qassem was born in 1953 to a family from South Lebanon, and he was raised in Beirut. In 1982, he became one of Hezbollah's founding members and often spoke on behalf of the group when Nasrallah was in hiding. However, Qassem has his shortcomings. Significantly, he was not particularly involved in military matters, which were mostly managed by Safieddine and Nasrallah. Since his predecessor's death, he has vowed the group will keep fighting Israel, but has also shown openness towards a ceasefire in Lebanon.
Tripling its military spending, and officials said on Tuesday's tensions with arch-rival Israel rise following a recent tit-for-tat missile strike.
Days after Israel carried out strikes on military sites in Iran, Tehran says it wants to triple its military budget, which amounted to around $10.3 billion in 2023, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. That would bring it in line with Israel's allocated budget this year, estimated at $30.5 billion. Tehran's proposed budget for next year will be debated, with lawmakers expected to finalize it in March. Iranian officials have repeatedly vowed consequences since Israel's attack Saturday, whose impact the Islamic Republic has downplayed, acknowledging 4 soldiers killed and damage to radar systems.
The Israeli regime will face the consequences of its miscalculation about the power, capability and the willpower of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Of course, Iran will not delay nor rush our response.
The Israeli attack came in response to a missile barrage that Tehran launched against it at the start of the month, which was itself retaliation for Israel's assassinations of the leaders of the Iran-backed groups Hamas and Hezbollah. On Monday at the UN, Iran and Israel traded accusations and threats.
The criminal regime of Israel has flagrantly violated international law and the UN Charter by committing a deliberate act of aggression against sovereignty and territorial integrity of Iran.
To Iran's leaders, take this as a warning. Israel has shown restraint, but from here on, you will see only strength.
The United States defended its ally Israel, while also calling for de-escalation.
The outcome of the U.S. election and the possible changes in Washington's foreign policy of special significance to the 3 million American expatriates eligible to vote in next week's U.S. presidential elections, and replaces that outcome more tangible than in Ukraine, where a few thousand Americans have, for various reasons, chosen to leave after Russia's 2022 full-scale invasion.
Among those casting absentee ballots from overseas this year is Anna Bilakur, one of an estimated 6,000 Americans living in Ukraine. She is a social media manager with the Kyiv Independent, an English-language online publication, and she says her personal connection to Ukraine is a deep one.
I've been living in Ukraine for just over a year now. I was here a bit on and off before the war started, and my dad is Ukrainian, so I had kind of roots on that side of my family. I felt that if I wanted to be a journalist covering this war, I had to be here.
Bilakur says it is heartbreaking to see Ukraine used as a talking point in U.S. political campaigns because she believes the struggle of Ukraine is being left out. Polls this year by Gallup and the University of Maryland suggest a slightly majority of Americans surveyed think the U.S. should keep helping Ukraine despite the politics.
When I talk to people at home on both ends of the political spectrum, I do hear a lot more empathy for Ukraine, a lot more concern than what is presented on certain news networks.
Bilakur plans to vote absentee online. She says no matter the outcome, her resolve will not change.
I hear Kyiv and NATO and various other places saying that whoever's elected is who we will have to deal with. So I try to take that attitude of, whatever the outcome, we're going to keep fighting.
Stephen Moore shares that view. He is a Republican and former chief of staff on Capitol Hill who now lives in Ukraine and works as a volunteer. Moore founded the U.S.-based NGO Ukraine Freedom Project, which provides humanitarian aid to civilians and non-lethal equipment to military volunteers. He says Ukraine needs the support of both Democrats and Republicans.
There is not a world where Ukraine gets what it wants from the United States through the support of only one party. This does not happen. So Ukraine needs to be bipartisan. There's about a 70% chance that the White House and Congress will be divided.
Moore believes America has never been so divided in his lifetime, a belief backed by polls in the run-up to the election.
The Russians are getting what they want in this election cycle, which is chaos and disorder in the United States.
Moore cast his ballot in his last trip to the U.S.
Right now, we are in a global war. And the only people acting on that information are our adversaries and the Ukrainians. So this election will dictate how America responds to a global war.
Other experts like John Sennett and his wife decided not to vote this time. Sennett works in airline logistics and volunteering in Ukraine as well. He says for him neutrality is key.
For us here, it's just a waiting game. Don't be too vocal about who you like or who you don't like, because whoever wins is who we're going to have to work with.
Sennett says his Ukrainian friends often ask him to predict the election outcome. He simply responds, "It's America, and nobody will have answers until it's election day."
In our sports news, Sihlangu Samnikati head coach Draco Logaricic is praising his players' new mindset after their 3-0 victory against Zimbabwe. He believes the players now understand the meaning of playing for a national team. He was speaking to Eswatini TV Sports Desk during a telephonic interview. In other news, Eswatini Q Sports Association has applauded the Royal Eswatini Pool team for hosting a successful first-ever Royal Eswatini Pool tournament. According to the association president Muntu Dlamini, this is a sign that the sport is on the rise in the country. And that's it for our second bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Let's leave you with the weather.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
It's 40 minutes after 7. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Kusile Breakfast Show, and this is the Wednesday edition. Eswatini recently gathered for the annual National Prayer Service, a deeply significant event that does not only marks the start of the year for Eswatini, but also holds a unique place in our cultural as well as our spiritual identity. Now, this time also signals the beginning of His Majesty King Mswati III's period of seclusion as we prepare for the revered Ingwala ceremony. Now, to unpack the cultural depth as well as the significance of these moments, Government Spokesperson Afios Ngumalo joins us this morning via a Zoom link. Mr. Ngumalo, a very good morning to you, Mnguni. Welcome to the program. We recently saw the National Prayer Service. It's exactly a day ago. Could you please help us understand the spiritual weight of the National Prayer Service in Eswatini?
Well, it's a very significant gathering that was orchestrated by His Majesty as soon as he ascended to the throne. I remember when he started this annual prayer services, it was in the late 80s, and they were held just behind the OB studio. At that particular time, it was still based at Lozita, the OB. And of course, we didn't have Mandulo Hall then, neither did we have the immediate hall when you enter the gates of Lozita Palace. So it was held behind the palace itself in a very small and limited hall at that time. The significance of the services actually is, as His Majesty have captured from time to time when he takes to the podium. It used to consistently align the country with the vision of the past kings, which saw the nation's success strictly tied to putting God in the center of its activities and its political life. So what His Majesty and the Queen Mother have done over years was to actually escalate these services to the point that now you can see it draws the Maswati from all corners of the country, and we have now even visitors that are coming from other countries to join this national service. It is really significant in that it keeps this country and this nation focused on the God whom we believe appeared to our forefathers and our forekings and instructed them that the country should be built on the principle of Mkulu as opposed to other things such as money and the rest. So each time we held these services, it revives us, it refocuses the nation, which is what His Majesty, if you even consider the message that he preached on Monday. It really refocuses Maswati on the God that is of this country and the God that can be the one that can meet a Maswati in their various personal and family needs, where probably government structures would have limited access or influence or assistance, especially when we talk of issues that are happening within family settlements.
Yeah. Mnguni, we are realizing that it does indeed set a united tone for the year, and it happening towards the end of the year surely speaks to something else, because we have seen the Umhlanga dance, we have seen other cultural ceremonies from the year beginning now towards the year end, and we are expecting the Ingwala ceremony to happen really soon. Is there a connection between these two?
The connection overall, the Kingdom of Eswatini is a country who is built upon a number of pillars. The critical one is the one we have just spoken about, which is the spiritual connection And the second one, of course, is a cultural ceremonies that we hold from time to time. The significance of it all is that even before Ingozi goes to engage in other national events, he would pause and give himself this time, which he did on Monday, to ask God's presence and intervention in all activities of the year as we proceed to another year, because the Kingdom of Eswatini, like Israel, our calendar year is not necessarily from the 1st of January to 31st of December, but it is determined by the situation of the moon. So these are all cultural things which are important in the throne representative by the king. By practicing these deep national cultural events, Maswati as a nation, they are kept together because the culture is meant to solidify and to keep a nation together. So in Gwala, we have seen from many, many past years and experiences that it is one national event that is so significant to the point that no one is not allowed to participate in it. So it brings the Maswati together under one king, one queen mother, and they celebrate the cornerstone of this historical event. And Ingosi, before he proceeds to that, he will always take time to have this prayer session. We are also praying for the success, not only for the next national events that are online, but also a successful entry to a new year, which will be 2025.
Mr. Ngumalo, thank you so much for your time. I'm afraid I have to let you go, but what you have shared with us has been very concise and very, very insightful in understanding some of these events that happen in Eswatini. Indeed, the power of the blessing on a nation, even with our heads of state. We are blessed indeed. Thank you so much, Mr. Ngumalo. Let's go for a net break. We connect with the Minister of Public Works and Transport as well as the Construction Industry Council after the break.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokusembili.
Hey you! Yes, you. Have you paid your TV license?
Did you know that by paying for your TV license fees, you will be complying with the laws that govern television possession, and particularly the Swaziland Television Authority Act of 1983 and its regulations? It is a legal obligation.
Paying for your TV license can have a positive spin-off, as the money collected from TV license fees goes a long way in assisting Eswatini Television Authority procure appealing and relevant content to broadcast on the channel.
So now, these fees also increase purchasing of local content from independent producers, which helps ensure that the arts and film industry in the country is well supported thus far, ensures the creation of jobs for Maswati. The payment of TV license fees goes a really long way in such endeavors as well as nation building.
A TV license costs 180 emalangeni per year per device, and for other accessories such as a decoder or njinja, it costs 50 emalangeni per device per year.
By paying for your TV license,
you will be doing the right thing.
Right, it's 49 minutes after 7. Sibakhulu ukuthi solo nihleli nathi ehlelweni ikusile breakfast show nalomuhla kungilesithathu. Sona ke isigamo sekugcina se-interview yethu lomuhla sifuna kubuka kabanti nje umkhakha wetakhiwo noma ke singasho ukuthi infrastructure industry lapha eveni eSwatini sifuna kugcila etinfeni letentiwa ke lihlangothi lwaka Construction Industry Council as well as ASAP labathi ngesingisi African Engineers Skills Acceleration Program sifuna nje understanda imisebenzi yabo lemihle kakhulu njengoba livela kangwane vele lisuke emagonso lathi ngwe tekwakhiwa ke noma ke takhiwo nanato lidlala inzima lebande ekuthenini livela kangwane the shape libe ngelo lelitaba destination for trade and for as well as for overall development na maqhawe mnisi long chief executive officer khona Construction Industry Council as well as Lwazi Mthimkhulu from ASAP sinvusele sinamukele ehlelweni imisebenzi lomhle kakhulu lenwendawo nasibuka nje ukuthi livela kangwane le shape leselifuna kuyithatha nyalo enetincumo lesetivele tithethwe from our head of state to government level as well as the private sector. I think it's a general consensus ukuthi live kufuna libheke phencenye singaba kuqala nje ku-understanda i-CIC nemsebenzi wayo Mr. Mnisi.
Siyabonga Ncomalo sivusele nasesiveni seMaswati thineke baka Construction Industry Council sinemsebenzi lapha live lelasineka wona uhulumende kwekuthi sibuke tekwakhiwa kule live la kangwane kulesi kwendako ke mthetho wethu wanga 2015 wa 2014 we are mandated ke lokho ukuthi si make sure ukuthi wonke umuntu longiso contract whether a construction contractor or a consultant firm noma ke uya supplier into lethambelana netekwakhiwa kufanele ube registered na CIC futhi ke thine sing CIC sine mandate ukuthi sisebenzele ukuthi eMaswati awuthola umsebenzi lowendeka la kangwane siphinze sicontrol sing CIC ma foreign or foreign companies letako kutawusebenza kule live la kangwane lo mthetho ke uyasiphokophela lokho ukuthi kube bede umuntu lo sebenza kangwane noma uchamuka ngaphandle noma construction company la kangwane unga register na CIC.
Okay. Sitawungena emathunjini ayole act masinyane nokuthi vele ithelelana njani nale misebenzi but ngiyafuna kuva kuwe babe Mthimkhulu nisabuke ihlangothi lwema engineers we do see the correlation kuma engineers nayo industry yaka construction kungaba nje kusichazela encenye ngemsebenzi wenu particularly ngenzaba ekushoda kwemakhono kuwo ema engineers ethu lapha ekhaya eSwatini kulomkhakha wedemnjiniyela eSwatini ngaba usichazela nje kulolu hlangothi.
Ngibonga ngiphinza ngivusele babe Ncomalo ngivusele nakuma viewers labukela emakhaya. Sengu ASAP nanathi si regulator sakhiwa ngumthetho weParliament iASAP Act which is Act number 15 of 2013. Kwaba iindustry initiative kusho sekwabukeka nje kuhleli industry yabuka lokuthi ngazi nawe nabani lofise ukuthi bida nga-engineer that bida nga-architect bekude lokuvimba ukuthi angavela angene kuleso space kwase kuhlangana ke industry yahlangana nalo litiko le-public works kwabuka ukuthi novele ikhona sidingo sokuthi bese seyiyaregulator le industry asikabuki kuphela bo-engineer asibuke bonke ama-professionals yakhona nje ku-built environment ne-construction especially ufake ekhathi bo-quantity surveyor bo-architect ma-land surveyors nawo bonke nje labanye lokho kwendiwe kuprotecta kakhulu liswati lelingiyona liyi-consumer yale skill lesi producewa ngiwo lama bonjinela nani lokho ke as a regulator singe-ASAP sikwenda njani kwekucala sisetha the standard se-training ne-education etikolweni lokuthi mabambamba ngabe lama learning institutions lokufaka ekhathi ema-college nema-universities akhicita lokungekho yini siphindze singene sibuke the program because imbambamba vele laba kukhipha kumele yini kube ngiko lokuconsumer ivele eMaswati bese ke nase bacedzile seba graduateile siphindze sibuke ukuthi ngabe mentorship yona mabamba bayithola yini i-tailored kanjani vele itawukhipha proper professional inegcinene emva kwaloko nasayitholile leyo training bese soyeda kade uphinza athola lihlolo ngakithi kungikhane simnika ticuke ukuthi sewungathi bida ngenjinela uthi bida nga-architect kepha ke ku-compulsory kangwane I think sibelihlahlandlela nje ku-region ukuthi la kangwane vele ku-compulsory ukuthi before upractice i-engineering architecture noma any of the disciplines la khona ku-construction space kufuna ukucala udlule ngakithi sekunike le certification.
So this is one industry la khona singasho ukuthi kule pool yema skills ayileki kangako nokuthi naseba evaluate vele sinaso lesiqiniseko ukuthi these people are competent indeed.
Yes, umsebenzi wethu ngiloko vele ukuthi sinike le surety ukuthi lo muntu nasaphethe le certificate vele sesimhlolile. Lama qualifications unawo nale experience asangayi provide leyo service.
Okay. Mr. Mnisi, yonke imisebenzi nedinsaye yatayo. Siyafuna kuva ukuthi ka construction njengoba nje ngivetile xa ukuthi lo msebenzi wenu nyalo mkhulu kangakanani eveni in this particular time now more than ever ngutiphi vele tinsala nibhekene nato lo muhla nokuthi ke ngabe iCIC sebenza kanjani kuhlangabetana nato?
Ngiyabonga Mnguni. CIC unama pillars lang 3. 1 we are promote the construction industry. 2 we are develop the construction industry. 3 siya regulate. So some of lama challenges ekutawuphendula nje umbuto wakho Mnguni they include ukuthi ema construction companies ukhanza ukuthi ngidawuthi nangizi nje construction companies including your consultancy firms,
yes,
including your manufacturers and suppliers of building material. Kunetinhlangothi la khona so kubonakala lokuthi solo kude kahle le skill. Yes, salenda ke licwaningo a few years ago sakhanza vele ukuthi identify ukuthi kunema areas la khona skill solo kude khona. So as part of umsebenzi wethu thina ukudevelopa le industry we do train, we provide training lehlukahlukene based on lama areas la sabona khona ukuthi kune skills gap. Njalo ngeminyaka nangeminyaka we do provide training to our industry to make sure ukuthi lama swati siyawa supporta siyawa develop to ensure ukuthi ekuchubeka ngekuhamba kwesikhathi emaswati kufanele ukuthi abe competitive.
Yeah.
Kukwenda noma ngamuphi umsebenzi lokhona la kangwane. Lokunye ke lokuyi challenge lesinako kusekhona lokuthi we have quite a number, a lot of small SMMEs, small construction companies. Into ke lesisayibona kanjalo futhi nakuma project owners bantu laba cala imisebenzi ukuthi ukhanza ukuthi kulaba labancane baba bede ama contract.
Okay.
Noma lama contract nangabe baba nawo angabi well defined lawo ma contract. So sineke si cancel in terms of regulating. Sinemsebenzi ke ukuthi sibasite abantu la khona project owner na contractor bangasavumelani noma na consultant bangasavumelani bayebete kithi ukuthi sitobasita lapho nje khona ukhanza abasaboni ngasolinye. Siye sibasite ke kulelo hlangothi lelo. Kuba ngcono ke kulaba labakhulu ngoba ukhanza sesikhatsini esiningi baba nawo lama contracts. Ngidawubeka nje kwegcina lokunye I challenge lekhona siyabona over time na hulumende na ungabuka nje over the past 10 years I budget ya hulumende for infrastructure spending was over 10 billion. But over time lese sikubona nyalo yehla to about 5 averaging about 5 billion. Or so
over 50%.
Yes, over 50% over time. So CIC ke singenele umkhankaso and sibonge na ku ministry yethu I-public works ngoba sahamba saya kwi-ministry sahlala phansi sayibekela tikhalo te industry ukuthi tiyini including leyo ukuthi there are now lack of opportunities, lack of work opportunities. And ke ilitiko sesibambisene nalo sizama lokusebenta leyo ndzaba leyo ukuthi naye uhulumende vele ayisupport le industry lokumcoka kakhulu ke ngiloko prioritize lamaswati kungabi nje ukuthi kumbe ikhona imali yokwenda umsebenzi siyadzinga lokho siyakucela lokho sivele nje sisemkhankasweni na ministry kubuka le budget ye infrastructure ukuthi isiyenda njani na hulumende ayibuke going to the future but lokunye lokumcoka ngiloko ukuthi le misebenzi si prioritize lamaswati sikhona ke thina si cancel to make sure ukuthi lamaswati ayayithola lemsebenzi simbonge na hulumende ndunankulu nje recently ukhiphe I policy statement lapho khona khomba i-commitment yahulumende to support lamaswati in terms of committing ama resources into infrastructure spending. Siyakubonga lokho, siyayibona leyo commitment, and we are really motivated as an industry to make sure lokho ukuthi nanathi as an industry we support the industry siyi-council ukuthi le misebenzi siyende kahle according to my expectations abo project owner.
Yeah, it's beautiful indeed what government has been doing, but lemisebenzi yenu mihle kakhulu. Ngiyafuna kubuya ASAP nje as we close. Part of lemisebenzi lemihle, I suppose, is keeping up with the evolving landscape. Everything is evolving, and I suppose even on your end nagini akhona lawo ma evolving and lokho evolve lesikubona. Ngabe likusasa lekusheshisa lamakhono Eswatini into lenihlangabeta kanjani, particularly masibuka nje inhloso tenu ni ASAP tekwakha 70 letinemakhono naletinemandla letingasitha inhloso leti singasho ukuthi la ka construction sinabo bantu laba competent even with everything that is evolving.
Sibonga Mngoni. Lengakusho nje ukuthi inyalo kunemsebenzi lokhona lesiwendako sihlanganise na CIC sibambisene na iMinistry of Public Works kubuketa i-construction industry policy kangwane siphinze sibukete nale mithetho lesi-establisha kona CIC. Sitha ukukhumbula nje usika ASAP unyalo sibelahlandlela njengoba ishito ekucaleni ukuthi sibelahlandlela sabalivele ekucala ku SADC region lapho khona i-registration ibe compulsory. Kepha sidikhanze sisalela ngemuva kunyalo i-continuous professional development siyitela kangwane kanti kulala amavele amanye seyikhona, so konke lelo sikwenda ku-review le mithetho nanani kuzama ku-addressa those issues kwenda sure ukuthi ama-professionals ethu athi noma sarejistile aphinza keep up with the latest trends la khona sigayidwa ngiwo ama-international best practices.
Yeah, and I suppose with that continuous professional development you will then be able to cover that skills gap that you have spoken about, Mr. Dennis. Thank you so much for your time. I'm afraid we've run out of time. It's already a minute after 8, but as Shangle Swatibo producer, thank you so much for coming to the program. Thank you to our viewers for staying with us on the show. It has been lovely. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.